Yo, what's up, healthy people? Welcome to the IRTC, the I Run the City podcast. My name is Pareo, Pareo. I'm the podcast MC, Master of Ceremonies. Real quick, of course, as always, a little bit of housekeeping. Follow me on Instagram at Pareo333, Twitter at Pareo_333. Subscribe to the blog, the website Pareo333.com. A lot of good stuff going on over there, and of course, subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel. Leave comments, leave reviews, and all that stuff helps everything. Episode number 30 of the I Run the City podcast. I'm going back to Cali. So I talked about in the last few times that I've talked, the last few episodes, and if you follow me on social media, I talked about my next race being a different type of race. My next race is in Santa Cruz, California, and it's triathlon, IronMan 70.3. It'll be my first IronMan competition, and it's exciting, right? It's super exciting. Never done this one before, and a big part of why I wanted to do an IronMan competition is a couple different things. Let me start with that. Let me start there on why I wanted to do an Ironman competition. I mean, I'm a marathoner. I'm a runner at the marathon distance, and like stumbled into that. I stumbled into running marathons. It's not something that I set out to do in the beginning. And now 8 years later, almost a decade later, I've done several runs at the marathon distance, and even a couple of half marathons. But my reason for wanting to do an Ironman competition is, well, initially I feel like okay, number one, I feel like all of the different training that has to go into doing a triathlon on any level is beneficial. There's 3 different disciplines: swimming, riding a bike, and then running. I think the training will provide plenty of cross training. It'll give me an opportunity to work on different aspects of my body, because as a runner, it's very, I don't know, I just like to run. So if I don't have to do other things, then I won't. If I don't have to do other things, then I won't do other things. You know, if I don't have to do some sort of cross training, if I don't have to work out, if I don't have to go swimming, and swimming is a incredible form of exercise because you work so many different muscles. I mean, it's super beneficial to have swimming as a part of your fitness regimen. It's super beneficial. So the benefits of the cross training was huge in deciding to do triathlon, to get into the Ironman events. So that's why. I mean, that was the first thing that made me even consider doing a triathlon and signing up for IronMan 70.3, which is a half. So there's two different when as it pertains to Ironman. There's 2 different distances. One distance is the half Ironman, which is 70.3. 70.3. So you swim 1.2 miles. You ride the bike 56 miles, and then you run 13.1. This adds up to 70.3. If it's a full Ironman, then you double the numbers. So you swim 2.4 miles, you ride the bike 112 miles, and you run a full marathon at the 26.2 mile distance. I'm doing the half. I decided to start with the half. Just because, again, I had never done it before. And I'm coming off of marathon training and going right into Ironman training. So I'm going to have somewhat of a limited time to train. So starting off with the half, I think it balances out. If I were preparing for a full Ironman competition, and I'm gonna have about a 13 to 15 week training block, I think I will probably need to double that if I were going to do the full length, the 140, the 140 mile, all of it equals to be 140 mile competition or 140 mile day. So my training block is good for the half, and then after, and we're gonna get into this a little bit more after that Ironman competition. About 6 weeks later, in the month of October, I'm going to be doing another full marathon in San Diego. The Ironman's in Santa Cruz, and the full marathon is in San Diego. The Ironman September 12th, and then the marathon will be right around 6 weeks later at October 24th, I want to say. Don't hold me to that, and I'll check and put that on the website and also on social media. The exact dates. Actually, the exact dates are already on the website, so you can go and check out my running schedule, my race schedule for 2021, and get all of the actual dates. But anyway, about 6 weeks out from completing the Ironman competition is my next race, my final race of 2021, both in California. So I'm going back to Cali. Now, here's the thing about this Ironman competition and some of the things that I've learned before I even get started in training or whatever the case may be. I mean, before anything else happens, I have got to point out that there's a lot of things that have to go right for me to even make it to the starting line in this Ironman competition. Like I said, Ironman is 3 disciplines: swim first, ride the bike second, run in the third phase. And what that means is there's a lot of things that have to go right, and I say that to say I've never done it before, and the time difference in the training, for example. So let's say let me say it this way. There are certain investments that are going to be necessary for this to happen, and for me to be able to even make it to the start line and be a part of this race. It's September 12th in Santa Cruz, California. Your Ironman 70.3. A lot of things have to go right, like I said. So let's start with the investments. Let's start with the financial part of it. Okay? The financial investment is significant, right? Because, like I said, there's 3 disciplines, and there's things that I don't have because this is my first time doing an Ironman, and there are things that I will need that I do not have right now. Now, part of the financial investment I'm used to, because I've traveled for races at the marathon distance, and I know how that works. Fine, I know how that works. Part of the cost is travel, so that's a cost. Plane tickets or rental cars, however a person would get there. Hotel, right? Hotel, and I learned that you probably should get to the Ironman at least 2 days ahead of time, whereas in the marathon world, you can get there the day before and be fine. You get there the day before, you go to the expo. The expo is where there's vendors of different services and products as it pertains to running, shoes, socks, accessories, equipment, watches, everything that surrounds running. You'll have vendors there to, they're trying to do their thing. So you have, and that's also where you will pick up your race package. So you get your bib, you get your swag bags, you get your t-shirts, and everything that comes with being in that race, and what that particular race series gives as a perk, as perks, plural, for running that race. I just experienced that just a couple weeks ago out in Utah. And again, shout out to Rebel Wasatch, shout out to the Rebel Marathon Series, which I will be doing another Rebel run in 2022. I already know that. Shout out to them. It was my first time. Absolute pleasure and joy, my bad, to participate in that race. And I'll do it again. So shout out to the Rebel Series. Anyway, I just did the expo part of it. And so you land, you come in, you pick up your packet. You could do all that the day before. And then the next morning, you get up, you go run the race. What I've learned about triathlon is you want to get there a couple days ahead of time, because you have to, the night before, you still got to go through the same process with the picking up your race packets, and then you have to get your bike situated. And usually, I think they feel like it's best to do that not the day before, or not to get there the day before, so that you can have everything done in a timely fashion and not be squeezed for time. So at least a couple days. So I mean, what I'm saying is that adds another day to hotel expense. So it's just another expense. So you got your transportation method, you have the hotel expense, and what you need, if you're me and it's your first time, the different supplies and gear that you need to participate in the race. Number one, a bike. I need a triathlon ready bike. And that could be, just depends on what kind of bike you buy. It could be 1,000. It could be 10,000. I mean, those the price ranges vary, but it could, that could pose a high expense. Wetsuits, shoes to ride the bike, a helmet to ride the bike, goggles for the swim, sneakers for the run. Clothes for the run after you get out of the water, clothes for the bike after you get out of the water. It's a lot of different things that are going to be needed. There'll be a lot of different things that are going to be needed. So the financial commitment is real, and again, I'm simply giving a few different examples from what I know, from what I've researched. It's my first time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm sure that there are more expenses, plural, involved. I'm just simply giving a quick synopsis on what I've heard and reading and listening to videos and other people giving their points of view. Just trying to pick up gain some knowledge and some gain from them, so that I can be even more prepared as I get myself ready for Santa Cruz, September 12th, IronMan 70.3. I mentioned the 3 disciplines. So the investment of time. When preparing for a marathon, you have to put a lot of time and a lot of work into that. Because there are days where you're going to be running 2+ hours. I mean, and that's a lot of days. So if you have a 15-mile training block, 15-week training block. In the beginning, toward the middle, as you go up into the training block, your miles get more and more. You have to spend more and more time running. So right now, I'm starting my training block for October. The October marathon after the Ironman competition. And right now, about an hour and 15 minutes is a long run. Right now, about an hour and 15 minutes is a long run right now. If this was week 11 in a 15-week training block, that's going to be kind of at the peak. Not exactly, but somewhere around 11, 12, you're going to peak in mileage. And that's a 22-mile run, which could take 3 hours, depending on who it is, or more, just depending on who it is. So in triathlon, there's 3 disciplines. In marathon, in running the marathon distance, there's only 1 discipline. So the time that will need to be invested is going to be sometimes double the time that you're going to invest in terms of just running a race, where there'll be days where I'll need to ride the bike and run. There'll be days where I need to run and swim. So there's a real time commitment that has to be invested here too. You can't just you have to take time to figure these things out ahead of time. You can't really freestyle and get this thing done. So the time invested in planning and having your days already set up for an extended period of time, for days and weeks at a time, it's no easy task. So where in running at the marathon distance, where you can take care of your run in a certain time frame, and then that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else as it pertains to your training for that day. But in the Ironman training and preparation, again, you're going to have days where it's going to be a long run or a long bike ride. You're going to have days where it's going to be a long bike ride, and you have to go and put some work in the swimming pool. And that's another thing. In triathlon training, there's pool fees. Like, you want to have somewhere to train as often as you can. So there's fees for that type of stuff too. I mean, the financial commitment is one that, and I'll keep you in the loop on that, and maybe even when it's all said and done, just give you like a thing by thing itemized list of things that had to be purchased and how much it had to be purchased for to get like a real final cost. But anyway, back to the time investment. So there's a serious time investment because you have a job, and then you have to manage after your job. Sometimes a family life, and I would imagine someone, you'd have to have your spouse, your family on board with this type of time commitment. Because you're going to be spending a lot of time out in the field, out in the outside, or in the gym, or in the pool, or on the bike. You're going to be spending a lot of time away from your family, so you would definitely have to have the family on board to be able to participate in the IronMan competitions on either level, whether it's 70.3 or the full 140-mile Ironman. So that time commitment is absolutely real. That time commitment is absolutely real. And again, this being my first one, a lot of things have to go right. I mean, I have to really have this thing locked in. I have to have this thing locked in on many different levels. And then there's that I don't know, the physical investment. So the physical investment is the actual training, right? So you got the financial investment, where it's gonna take finances. And again, this is my first one, so this is let me say this too. The investments that I'm talking about, they're coming from someone who is attempting or pursuing their first triathlon completion, their first Ironman 70.3 completion. So this is coming from I'm going from scratch. So someone who has done this a few times, or even one time, would be a lot further along than I am. So this is ground zero. We're coming from ground zero here, right? We're coming from ground zero. So the investments, I'll break it down like this: mental, physical, and financial. And we talked about the financial part of it, and how there's several things that has to be purchased, whether it's products and services. And again, I'll continue to document and itemize and put exact prices, so at the end we'll have a definite financial investment from my standpoint. And then there's that physical investment, where the actual training, we talked about it, the actual training, where you are having to invest the physical training, because there's three disciplines. You have swimming, you have the bike, and you have the actual run. So that physical investment is going to be sometimes 2 times the training that you would have if you were just doing training for a run at the marathon distance. And because I've trained a lot at the for runs at the marathon distance, my fitness level is going to help in the physical part of it. It's going to help. It's not like I'm coming to this thing from scratch in that sense. I'm not coming to this from scratch in the sense of my fitness level. My fitness level is really good right now. And I talked about that on my last podcast, number 29, where I talked about how this last run, because my training block was done so so well. I mean, it was very well executed, very well planned, and very well executed. The training block for Rebel Wasatch. My fitness level was at its very best. I've never been as fit in a race as I was for Rebel Wasatch. So that deserves an applause because it's super important to eventually get there. And so I'm not coming into this from scratch on a fitness level, and that's a big deal. So I'll be able to the run part of this. I'll be able to jump right in and be in good shape. Now there's a certain degree of fitness that I'll have to build as it pertains to the bike. I think the running will help in that sense. But the swimming, I'm coming from that. I am coming from that standpoint from scratch. Swimming, I think a lot of people know and realize that when you swim, there's a lot of you work just about every muscle when you get in the swimming pool. So that'll be something that'll be I'll be coming from kind of like ground zero on that. But I think that's a good thing. I think, again, that's one of the reasons why I decided to even do this was because I feel like that cross training is gonna help me overall. It's gonna help athletically. I mean, just being an endurance, just as from an endurance athlete standpoint, the more training in the different disciplines, the better off I'm gonna be. The better off my body's gonna be. I'm gonna be more fit, just all around. So that will be a little bit more of a physical investment, but worth it. But overall, I will come into this with some sort of fitness, with a level of fitness that won't have me standing on point A. Like, I'm not at point A. I'm a little further along than that overall. So there's the financial and there's that physical, that actually getting out there and getting it done. And then there's that the mental investment that it's going to take. Because for me, and again, this is for me, there's a lot more going on in my life right now than just the IronMan competition and the training that I'm getting ready to take on. There's a lot more going on than just those things. So you have to work through that. Now I have ways that I use daily to get me through that part, and that mental part, I'm not coming from zero on that either. Like, that's something that I work on every single day, through a proper diet, which, listen, a proper diet is beneficial mentally. Okay, we're not talking about that right now, but a proper diet is beneficial, like mentally. It helps to just stay mentally intact. Bad food will have you in a bad mood. I really believe that. And then the physical activity also helps with the headspace. The physical activity also helps with the headspace. So I stay very active, and that is something that contributes to my my headspace being relatively solid. I can go through action-packed days, and I know that, if you're an adult, if you're even anyone who is productive and trying to get things done, trying to execute, you're a person who has action-packed days, and the more that happens, the better prepared you become mentally for these days, day in and day out. And again, the food, the healthy diet, the physical activity, and being divinely sound. Prayer and meditation, and I do both every single day. I always give the example of starting the day without gratitude, praying and meditating. I equate that to when you open your door every single morning or afternoon or night, whenever you go to work or whatever, whenever you leave your house, and whether you meditate, pray, show gratitude or not, there's gonna be tall weeds. Like you open the door and there's just a bunch of weeds. Whether you do any of that stuff or not, they're gonna be there every day. And generally, you have to fight through those weeds. You have to make room for yourself to get to your car, and then to get out of your garage, you have to create space to move. But in my theory and in my experience, because I don't go a day without doing those things, showing gratitude immediately, praying and meditating before. One of the first things I do in the morning is meditate. So, for me, because I do that, there's a space carved out already. There's a path. I don't have to move anything. I open the door. The weeds are there. It's tall and they're there, but there's a path already for me. I already got a path because I've already taken care of that. And that's my headspace. Like the things are there, but I'm all set because I got that whole preventative maintenance thing going on with the meditation and the prayer and the gratitude and getting ready for the day in that sense. And there's a path. So these action-packed days, with my approach, with my concept of a healthy diet, physical activity, and divine soundness, prayer, meditation, gratitude, that is a weapon that I have. I have ammunition to take these action-packed days on because they're action-packed. There's a lot to do. You have to be mentally prepared. And I can tell you, over the last 9 months, my work schedule has just been a real shit show. And it has caused me to be fatigued. It has caused me to be fatigued, and regardless of executing all the things that I execute to have a good day. So there are times when you may have seasons in your life, and when you're going through things that are unavoidable. So and when those times come, it's even more important to have these things in place, because you're going to need that much more to continue to battle through these times. These times don't last forever, but they do happen. And my concepts, my blueprint to getting through these action-packed days, even when it's ramped up, I still use it, even if it's not effective all the time in the moment. I still use it because you need every little bit of an advantage that you can to make it through these action-packed days. So that the investment in the mental investment is yet another aspect of doing the triathlon and doing the IronMan, as opposed to just doing the marathon, where running is the only discipline that you have to do. Where in the IronMan competition, there's 3 disciplines. And again, I'm coming from I'll say a rookie. I'm a rookie in the IronMan world, and everything that's getting ready to happen is going to be happening for the first time. So I'll have to pivot. I'll have to respawn and do things that I've never done before in order to get the type of outcomes and the type of results that I want to get in order to execute this thing and get to the start line and get through the course and get to the finish line, which is absolutely at the essentially the goal is to get to the finish line and get this thing done. So there's that. Now, after all that, and that's a lot, 6 weeks later, I've got a marathon to do in San Diego, California. I'm going back to Cali. This is what I'm talking about. I got a marathon to do in San Diego, California 6 weeks after that. So I think, again, and you can look on the website, perio333.com, and check out my race schedule. But just off the top of my head, I think that the Ironman competition in Santa Cruz is September 12th. And then about 6 weeks later, October 24th, that weekend is the 23rd and the 24th, out in San Diego is the marathon. So a lot going on right now. I got a lot happening by essentially training for and preparing for an Ironman competition as well as a marathon just a month and a half later in the same state. One in Northern California. Santa Cruz is Northern California, up near San Francisco, Napa Valley. More on that in upcoming videos. And then the marathon, the run at the marathon distance is in San Diego, which is Southern California, a little bit further south than LA, Los Angeles County. It's San Diego. I think it's Ocean City. Never been to either place out in California, and really looking forward to it. So we going back to Cali. There's a lot going on in doing this. Now that adds to the dynamic. And I feel very confident. I feel very confident that I'm going to be able to manage this and get the training done. I feel like I'll be able to manage this and get the training done. I do. I feel like I'll be able to manage this and get the training done. Now, the last 9 months, I just talked about it. The last 9 months were just an absolute horror show at times. But I did experience a lot of that horror, and it wasn't after it's all said and done. It's not necessarily horror. It's put me in a position where I'm pretty confident that I can make this happen. And it maybe this is a personal thing. But I feel like being able to manage both the marathon, the Ironman training, the marathon training, and all the things that come with the Ironman training. I mean, I got a lot to do on that aspect, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of putting all those things in place and making the stuff happen. I have a lot to do as it pertains to that, and the last 9 months was, and I didn't even realize it at the time, this is what prepared me for what's coming. So it's personal in that I understand what it's gonna take to manage these two events coming up right back to back. And again, the mental, the physical, the financial, those are commitments that if I get this done, and like I said at the very beginning, a lot has to go right for me to get this done. A lot has to go right for me to get this done. This has to be done. A lot has to go right. for me to get this done. So that being said, I'm up for the challenge. And a big reason why I'm up for the challenge is because the last 9 months was so challenging that I was being prepared and didn't even realize it. So I guess all that to say that sometimes when you're going through it, you don't realize why you're going through it, and you're not supposed to realize why you're going through it. Maybe I don't know, but you don't realize why you're going through it. But if you just persist and persevere, you tend to. There's something on the other side. Like you're being. What I found is I was being prepared for something, and I think what I was being prepared for was not okay. I think what was going on is I was being taught, or what I got out of it was, you know what? Even when things get super crazy and you're tired and you're kind of making adjustments. I would make adjustments on. I'm real big on getting the proper rest. I mean, I'll go hard, I'll train and I'll go hard, but I'm also real big on getting the proper rest. So one of the things that was jumped off in the last nine months was learning when to get the proper rest. Because before then, I was probably pushing it sometimes. I probably pushed it, but I learned over the last 9 months that that's not the best idea all the time. So I learned to hold back when it was necessary to hold back. I learned to do that. And I can take that into this next 15 weeks. This next 21 weeks, because if you add the additional 6 weeks after the IronMan competition, then it's a total of about 21 weeks total from today to October 24th. It's a total of about 21 weeks, somewhere in there, to 20 plus weeks. I can manage this. I know when to say when, where in the past I didn't realize that. So wasn't a complete shit show in that sense. I mean, it was a shit show, but it was also an opportunity, or I used it as an opportunity to learn and to approach certain things in a more effective way, or in a way that's going to make me train more effectively. So a lot happening, a lot going on. There's Perio Media LLC. We're going to talk about it. We got a new company. We're going to talk about it. Posh Media and the Digital Posh Life is on the way. In the meantime, this is episode 30 of the I Run the City podcast. My name is Perio, Pareo. I'm the master of ceremonies. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Perio333. Follow my Facebook page also. Got a Facebook page, Perio333. I'm always uploading to the Facebook page, Instagram, doing stories, always doing that. The blog, the website, Perio333.com. Go and subscribe. Drop your email over there, because then you're going to get, every time I put something up there, you're going to get it right away. So go drop your email at Perio333.com. The site is really improving. It's getting better and better all the time. I'm getting a lot of compliments off the site. So I think we're doing a good job with that. So go over there, please subscribe, drop your email, and the whole thing. And of course, subscribe to the podcast, the I Run the City podcast. Subscribe, leave a good review, because that always helps. And then the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Perio333. That's the YouTube channel as well. Going back to Cali, got IronMan 70.3. My first time. I'm gonna become Iron Marius. I'm gonna become Iron Marius. It'll be my first triathlon, September 12th, Santa Cruz, California. Go check the website and make sure that date is right. September 12th. October 24th, the marathon in San Diego, California. Ocean City, I'm not sure. Check it out though. You can go check all that stuff on the website. And that's going to do it for me today. Episode 30, going back to Cali. Eat plants, keep running, and be still. Out.